Hello, hello. JD Grosspitz here, lead singer and streaming talent of Malignant Bear. Coming at you live here on St. Patrick's Day with our St. Patrick's Day Celebeartion. Kind of threw this together. Had some different plans for today, but we had to sort of make do. So I got a viewer request, a fan request, to stream Diablo 2, because obviously Diablo 2 Remastered got announced. And I figured, sure, I'll revisit a game that I really liked 20 years ago, why not? Turns out that 20-year-old games don't exactly run super well on modern computers, which is to say, not at all. And that was with me messing with it for hours, attempting to get it to work, following all of Blizzard's guidelines, fan patches, things like that. And that's with them having patched it, so it would supposedly work better. Still didn't. So I figured, next best thing, we will play Grim Dawn. Because Grim Dawn is a action RPG made by a bunch of people who are big fans of Diablo back in the day. This is the same team that made Titan Quest, which was a successor to Diablo back then. And yeah, so this is Grim Dawn, and specifically, this is the Reign of Terror mod for Grim Dawn, which is to say that this is it's a total conversion to make Grim Dawn into Diablo, which I thought was pretty swell. So, we're gonna go ahead and mess with that. Yeah, sorry for the slight delay on the stream, was setting some things up. So we'll jump right in after we see the wonderful drop bear there. Okay, so, as you can see, it just says Grim Dawn, Forgotten Gods, because that's all that it thinks that this is. The way Grim Dawn handles mods is a little weird. And the way it handles character creation and stuff is a little weird as well. Helps if we unmute the desktop audio there. 1 second. Okay. So, if this was actual Diablo, when you make a character, you get to pick your character class and things like that. You don't do that in Grim Dawn. You just make male or female, and then you start. So, we're going to make a character here. Just call him Grosspitz. We're going to leave these other options alone. Obviously, hardcore mode, if you're familiar with action RPGs. When you die, you die. And normal mode, or normal plus, is just harder difficulty. So, go ahead and create. Here's our new guy. As you can see, obviously I have some other characters there. We'll be talking about those later on. Let's jump right in. Wonderful loading screen art with one of the characters from the base game. But, so this looks a little familiar. This is the Rogue encampment from Diablo 2. Complete with the music and the ambient noise. And the sound effects, everything. This is a wonderfully, lovingly created total conversion of Diablo. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different, simply because Grim Dawn plays a little bit differently, and we'll kind of talk about that as we go in. But, right off the bat, I'm just going to click on this so I can get some potions and some food. And we want food because we see our health bar down here. And that little kind of outline on it, the yellowish outline, that's my constitution. And if that's full, my health will naturally regenerate. If that runs out, it doesn't, which is a bit of a shame. And the mana just always naturally regenerates. But, you know, whenever you start, you always gotta talk to Wareve.
Greetings, stranger. I'm not surprised to see your kind here. Many adventurers have traveled this way since the recent troubles began. No doubt you've heard about the tragedy that befell the town of Tristram. Some say that Diablo, the Lord of Terror, walks the world again.
Wow, that's intense.
Greetings, stranger.
So we'll skip through all that, like you usually would when you start a new character in Diablo. But yeah, all of the audio, lovingly ported to this game, which I think is pretty cool. Including all of his gossip things. All of the cutscenes were ported as well. Obviously, they look pretty terrible nowadays.
Welcome,
here we have Kasia.
To our glorious hovel. I know you're here to challenge the evil that's driven us from our ancestral home. But know this. Akara may be our spiritual leader, but I command the rogues in battle.
So obviously, she looks a little different than she does in the base game. Same with Wareve, or in the original game, rather. But I think the audio is the big draw here. So this game, this mod in particular, went for nailing the aesthetic more than anything. Nailing the gameplay, they got close, not quite. and you'll see why it's hard to do because of limitations within Grim Dawn itself. But again, the aesthetic.
Hi there. I'm Charcy, the blacksmith here in camp. It's good to see some strong adventurers around here.
And so much of that aesthetic is the audio design in this game. People complain that, oh, Diablo 3 wasn't dark enough and all that. I think the biggest issue with Diablo 3, the art style, and it's fine, I think it looks beautiful, is the audio design. It doesn't evoke these same feelings. So, of course, we have Geed. The shops work a little bit different in this, so you can see the shops are just their stalls rather than them. Geed does not offer gambling in this version, unfortunately. So, no endgame thing. Charcy still sells weapons and armor, in addition to having a forge where you can craft things. It's a holdover from base Grim Dawn. The anvil, where you can craft some other things. Again, holdovers from base Grim Dawn. So that's kind of the issue here, is that there's things that they did to make this Diablo, and then there's things that they couldn't do just based on what was in the base game. So we'll look at our character here, again, newly created. You start in this with a javelin and a shield, regardless of which gender you pick, because that's all you have the choice of, and some basic armor. One of the oddities in this is there is no repairing things in Grim Dawn, and there is no stacks for throwing weapons, which means the javelin is incredibly broken because you never have to worry about it running out of spears. It does a lot of damage, has a pretty high chance to pierce through things, and is very fast. Here we have the stash. Obviously solved that problem from Diablo. Quite a lot of room in it. In addition, here's the shared stash. Even more room in that. This stream is a definite oddity, because as you can see, I prepared in advance. Normally I go into games blind, and that was going to be the intention with this. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. So, let's see, actually this one's much better. My original intent for this stream was that I was going to stream base Diablo 2, up to and including saving Decker Cain, and then jump into this and do the exact same thing in this game. But because base Diablo 2 didn't run, we're just going to do some stuff in this instead.
High Priestess,
Alright, so yeah, Akara is talking to us. Another cool thing that this game does that base Diablo doesn't do is you can respec immediately, all the time, for free. Which is really cool, because Diablo is punishing, and if you have a bad build and you get to the end game, you are screwed. No such problem here. Alright, so here we are into the Bloodmoor, the first zone. See, standard zombies, let them attack us. Same wonderful sound effects. Same classic music. All lovingly brought up. Again, you can see the javelin a little broken. So one thing you might notice at the bottom of the screen there, this is my XP bar, is the beige going into yellow bar. And let me find some more stuff to kill. Click here. So you can see as I kill, the yellow portion goes up. And there's sort of a, almost a kill streak sort of thing in this game, where you want to keep that yellow up, because that gives you more experience over time. So, alright, we've gotten some loot here, and we've also leveled up, which is important. Because that's how this game deals with classes, and you'll see, like I said, we couldn't pick our class in the beginning like we normally could, so we're just a normal guy right now. So we get attribute points to pick just one of 3 things. Every time you level up, that's it. That's boring though. So let's look at the class list. First time you level up, you have to pick your starting class. Eventually at level 10 you do get another one. So again, being a mod for Grim Dawn, this is a little odd, because we have all of the base Grim Dawn classes, and then all of the Diablo 2 classes. This mod is significantly harder than base Grim Dawn, and to compensate, the Diablo 2 classes are significantly stronger than the Grim Dawn ones. The mod maker recommends you pick at least one Diablo 2 class, and as you might have seen at the very beginning, I already had a Sorceress and Amazon prepared, just because that's what I used to play years and years ago, and I wanted to see how they held up. And so we'll pick something else. I did mess around with Paladin before. It doesn't translate quite as well. We can look at it, actually. So you can hear it even plays the wonderful Paladin walking up sound effect from the old game. So whenever you pick a class, you have your passive class points, and you need to raise these to unlock these. So you see if I do 1 point in this, I will get the ability to use any of these skills, get up to 5, get those, etc., etc. So Paladins in Diablo were most famous for their auras, which was a passive thing that they just had on all the time. Diablo had a thing, though, where you could only use 2 skills at one time, the left mouse button and the right mouse button. That was it. You could obviously rotate them out, so you could have a bunch of different things bound to that, but only one active at a time. So it meant for the Paladin, you could only effectively have 1 aura at a time, because they can only be bound to the right mouse button. This deals with that by making all of your auras exclusive skills, which means you can only use 1 at a time, even though you have plenty of bindings down here. So, they're not as powerful as they could be if you had much stronger auras, which means you have to make some choices here. Some of these are thankfully passive, rather than being auras. But again, you have to kind of decide what you want to do. So we won't do Paladin just for that reason. Sorceress we'll look at later. Assassin. Assassin's biggest failing in this is that you cannot dual wield right off the bat, which is one of the things that made them strong in the original. You have to get up to... what is it? Yeah, this, which takes 15 points. You get 3 a level. So do the math. You have to be higher level to be able to dual wield, which means you're going to be pretty weak right off the bat because you want skills that do damage. So, still kind of neat though. Barbarian. that wonderful shout also didn't make the transition super well. So you can see Barbarian back in the day was just a bunch of passives because all you were doing was trying to get to level 30 for Whirlwind. It takes significantly longer to get to level 30, or to get to the level to use Whirlwind this time around. And again, if you're not picking up things along the way, you're gimping yourself. So probably not something you want to do. This would be a good secondary if you were going to pick something else. Classic Necromancer, just because there's a regular Necromancer in Grim Dawn. Still a pet class. Still spells, still curses. Works out pretty well. We'll look at that a little bit later as well. Amazon, like I said, we'll check that out too. We're going to go with Druid though. So, Druid is a really fun class. Druid and Assassin were the expansion classes from Diablo 2, which meant they were testing some kind of new things with them, some new gameplay mechanics. They have a very varied skill set here. So obviously you have your spells, like Firestorm, shape-shifting, so you can turn into a werewolf, or later on, a bear, how appropriate. Or you can summon pets. Alright. So we're going to go 1 point in Werewolf and 1 point in Raven. We'll close that out. So you can see we're now a level 2 Druid, and that class is locked in. We can't undo this. Obviously we can pick a second one later, but we're stuck being a Druid for now, so hopefully it's as cool as I think it's going to be. So there's no werewolf form, it's just a buff. So instead of that kind of janky looking werewolf model from Diablo 2, I'm just a normal looking guy still. But we get a bird, which is nice. And the cool thing about this, since it's not a specific form, is that I can still throw javelins, and they're still really broken. Alright, so we got to put a point in strength too, might as well. Alright, but we're going to go through, and like I said, this game is a bit harder than base Diablo. So what we want to do is probably level up. We want to clear this entire zone, pretty much. Another oddity for this, compared to the original, is that the map is static. So Diablo 2 had completely randomized maps, except for a couple of them, usually like the last level of each act. These are just completely static. So you can see, getting tons of loot already. It's mostly trash. The loot list is partially things from Grim Dawn, and partially things from Diablo. Again, they ported full items over. So you can see, for example, this is just the quilted armor from Diablo, whereas these other items are just from Grim Dawn. Got some components, including a gem. So some items have sockets still, just like they would back in Diablo. Those are only useful for runes this time around. It's a little dark. It's very dark. Yeah, it's Diablo is always dark. It's just they're going for that aesthetic for sure. Let me see if I can turn that up a little bit though. Let me see. Screen gamma? What's that? No, I don't have this full screen, do I? So that won't matter. Let's try this. 1 second here. So yeah, when Diablo 3 came out, people hated it because it wasn't dark enough. They wanted it to be like this. Which yeah, it's terrible. And it translates really poorly to stream too. So what we'll do is we'll crank that up all the way, why not? Let's see, that should look a little bit better now. Look at the little preview window and see what that looks like. It's like blinding on my monitor now. But yeah, Diablo 2 is a very dark game. Grim Dawn is a very dark game. Works well together. Ooh, a magic item. Alright. Putting some stuff up here. But the stream is like really delayed over... Really delayed. My goodness. What's going on here? Is the options menu still up? That's really strange. Okay. I thought it was just delayed, but no, it's like stuck on the options menu in the stream itself. 1 second here. Let me toss it on over to that. And bear with me here while I get this figured out. I think it's because I switched from it being full screen to not full screen. Maybe it didn't like that. Might have to exit out of the game completely. That's always good. Yeah, Grim Dawn must have decided, or the OBS must have decided what it was actually capturing was not the window anymore, but rather just the options menu. Let that load back up. And jump back in. Let me see here. Ooh. That sounds terrible. Alright, transition to this. Turn off studio mode. And let's see. Well, apparently it didn't take into account the change to the gamma. Just didn't. Is that showing on the stream at all? No. Wow. Okay, thanks OBS. I'm not sure why it's not capturing that. So it's unfortunately it's just going to have to be dark. My apologies for that. That's really odd. I have no idea why it does that. Alright, but we'll jump back in. Appreciate the grim darkness of it all. Alright, but as I was saying, where the options menu betrayed me, this game is a lot harder than the base game was 20 years ago. But it also comes with the caveat that in regular Diablo 2, things sort of leveled with you. In this, they don't. So you can see I'm already level 1, things here, or I'm already level 2, rather. Things here are just level 1. Which is boring. So we're getting less XP from them, of course, which means we have to kill more to get the same effect. The beauty of live streaming, sometimes things just don't work out. Since I'm not recording it, well, YouTube is recording it for forever, but since I'm not recording it and have the ability to restart and correct things and edit things, it just is what it is. So again, looks dark on stream. It's just how it's gonna be. Alright, but let's see, I'm gonna kill these real quick. So another cool thing of this that regular Diablo doesn't have is the loot filters. Let's kill that thing so it doesn't kill me while I'm doing this. So modern action RPGs have loot filters so that you don't see a ton of useless common items all over the ground. So you can turn those off. They're still there. If we want them, we can press a button to see them again. But we don't want them, so our inventory is already full of them and they're trash. I'm just gonna sell them. It auto-loots potions and gold, which is super nice. I hope that's a feature that they bring to the remaster. Again, those wonderful sound effects. Still screaming for Rakanishu, I think his name was. So here's the end of this little zone.
You should complete Akara's quest before venturing further. Search for the den in the wilderness closer.
So, Flavi tells us we shouldn't go this way. I'm gonna go this way, just because I want the portal. Still full town portals, waypoints, just like there were in the original. You know that right off the bat. There's no scrolls or anything. There's also no identifying items, which is pretty cool. So if I pick up a magic item, I immediately know what it is. But yeah, we're gonna keep clearing this zone, the Bloodmoor, before we go into the Den of Evil, because it's a little bit more difficult, like I said. Let's see, we get some crafting components here. Which is, again, a new feature of just this. So. You can effectively ignore it if you want to. If you want to play this just like Diablo, just get loot, kill monsters, you can totally do that. Or if you want to play it more like Grim Dawn, you can do that too. Which is what I think is kind of neat about this. I also think it's kind of neat that this plays in modern resolutions. Diablo 2 maxes out at 800 by 600. And even at the time it came out, it was kind of embarrassingly low. So, had I even gotten it to run, it probably would have looked absolutely awful on stream. Charms. That's another kind of neat thing this does. Rather than just filling your inventory with charms, they are items that you equip to this slot here. You can see I already have one. Where did that other one go? Just one inner sight. That's boring. I don't use that. I'm not on Amazon. Alright, so we'll, inventory's a mess already. Everyone's favorite thing about these kind of games is just managing your inventory. Let's have our mini-map here. Just going around the outside edges of the zone just to kind of see where things are. Just cheesing it with our javelin. Again, in the OG game, javelin had stacks, and as you threw them, they got rid of that. So you either had to keep buying more, finding more, or repairing it. But not in this game, so this is absolutely the best weapon for the beginning. Falls off pretty hard, though, after that. You can see just one-shotting things from a distance, and they turn into nice red mist. There's no dead body system in this game, like Diablo had. So, for example, the fallen shaman don't need to find their corpses to revive them. Instead, they just summon new ones. So, and likewise, the necromancer doesn't need bodies to summon skeletons; they just pop up out of the ground. I think it's just a limitation of the engine. So it's not mandatory to have cold damage early on to prevent being overwhelmed by fallen. Ooh. Right, so we have minions here, which means there's a boss. See, he's coming up there at the top of the screen. I think our bird died, didn't it? Don't know how. Maybe it only lasts a little bit or something. Oh yeah, it does. That's terrible. Now that I know that, I might not use it. Still get random boss enemies, which is kind of cool. This one shoots out lightning when I hit him, which means I definitely want to avoid him. Also has a ton of health, and it slowly regenerates. So the thrilling gameplay of me not dying. Oh boy. Right. So sometimes enemies drop loot, sometimes they drop those weird little balls of things that you have to attack to get the loot. End result's the same. Alright, so we got some new gear. We did level up at some point too. Let me actually read this. It was for 150 seconds. Yeah, that's terrible. Should probably live forever. Just so we can check out more things, we will get some other skills in here. We have Firestorm. Summon some flames. So Druids could do a lot back in Diablo 2. And it's a little different now, obviously. Again, that's the kind of the reoccurring theme here. Back then, each of these, where the kind of blank spaces are, these were different skill trees. So, for example, there was just the one tree for the Druid that was pets, one that was werewolf form, werewolf and bear form, and the other one that was just magic. And basically, you only wanted to put points in one, maybe two of those. For most Druids, that was werewolf plus pets, because you can't use spells while you're a werewolf form. But you can now. So we need to find the Den of Evil so we can go into it and kill things. Kill more things. Obviously, that's what we've been doing this whole time. So if you're watching and you think, boy, this is a strange game to play for St. Patrick's Day, it sure is. As I mentioned in the description, there is pretty much no games made in or set in Ireland. The only exception is like the Havoc physics engine. The dev studio is based out of Ireland. That's it. And I could have gone the easy route and just played any game that uses it, which is most games. But I figured instead, St. Patrick's Day, Irish, luck of the Irish, of course, kind of an ironic phrase, but I would play a game that's all about luck. Specifically getting loot and loot luck. So that's the very very tenuous connection here. Alright, so this little eye icon on the map here, that's the Den of Evil. Let's run back to town real quick though, before we go in there. Some custom loading screens once you're actually in the game, instead of the base game ones. Let's see. Boy, that's really good. So we're gonna... all these white items, garbage. I don't even care what they do. Useless. That's why we turn them off. I know they're trash. Right, as far as other items, though, we have better than that. This is slightly better than our javelin, so finally graduate from that. That'll be good. See, we have more bag space now, too. I don't remember how we got that, but it's nice to have. So that's terrible. Since it only lasts for a couple seconds, we don't need that. Instead, we'll put those points into the passive thing, so that then as soon as we get our next level, we can buy a couple more things instead. Just kind of looking at what we might be able to get. Right. So check our stash. Oh hey, did you look at that? Set items. So back in the original Diablo, and of course in this game as well, you have your kind of common items are white, magic items are blue, and then above that yellow items were rare, like this. And then there were set items, which were green. These are pretty strong. They're like rares, but then they also have bonuses when you have more of the set on you. And then at the tippy top is unique items, and they're this kind of beige color. So I have a couple of these waiting in the wings. From other characters, other runs that I did of this. So again, this was the rare stream that I prepared for. And even with that, Didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to, but that's alright. So we have gems here. Let's see. Yeah, we'll put a skull on that. So again, gems you just toss on anything. That's how components work in Grim Dawn, so you don't have to worry about sockets, which is pretty cool. Sell this, we don't need it anymore. Let's see, we can't afford much else though. That could be useful, buy that. Basic ring, get some health regen going. And then back to it. So instead of the nice town portals in town, they're just kind of out and about. Boy, this is going to look really bad on stream. I'm so disappointed that upping the gamma didn't work. You can't see anything. It's okay. Cool. So I'm in a cave, which means it's really dark. And because the game didn't want to accept that I upped the gamma, can't see anything at all. Which is a shame. So I'm getting my murder on. I'll use the fire spell. That'll light it up. Here we go. Yeah. It's creative thinking. Right, you can see it's just like the original. You have to kill everything here, and it has them marked on the mini map up at the top, based on how many I'm killing. They're in groups rather than individuals. So, should expand the mini map there too. I have no idea why it does not capture that I upped the gamma here. But that does a ton of damage. That's excellent. There's secrets in here sometimes. Little side areas. You can see there's one over there. There's no monsters there though, so it's not worth it. And I would level it up again. Don't think I didn't see that. And okay. Look at that again once I'm not being attacked. Alright, so this is just a passive thing, and it gives me bonuses to werewolf form, which I'm using. This is another pet, and this one doesn't just die after a set amount of time. This one's just always here. Just doing things. It's invisible. It's supposed to be a vine. It's creeping under the ground. That's why it does that. They didn't bother to put a model in for it. Instead, it's just green. How thematic. Right. It does a lot of damage, which is nice. And again, it doesn't die. Because it doesn't have a model, I don't think it can even take damage. Which is really convenient. Chip skull. Again, auto-loots components, which is great. Because there's a lot of them. As you saw, there was a ton in my stash. And that was just from clearing Act 1, so... grab that. So again, very sort of standard action RPG gameplay, just killing stuff. The kicker here is it's just the Diablo wrapping. Grim Dawn itself is a fantastic game. Again, full disclosure, I did kickstart it. That was years ago at this point. But, I played through the base game and all of its DLC as well. Cool. So that telltale noise, for anyone who played the original Diablo, is of course a unique item dropping. This is the Bone Ash, a unique two-handed blunt weapon. Wow, that's really good actually. For a sorceress, which we have. So we'll hang on to that. Put a different ring here. Organize our stuff a little bit better. Now that we actually have some better items dropping, we can make some comparisons. See what's good. Again, the fun part of this game, managing your inventory. You always want some points of dexterity. That is important for your attack rating, which is your chance to hit stuff. One of the other oddities of this mod is that all of your spells are beholden to attack rating. which has some problems, as we'll see when I showcase the Sorceress later on. In regular Diablo, spells just always hit, which is good. In this, again, they're based on your attack rating, which means if you've neglected it, doesn't matter how much damage you do if it never hits anything. Oh, that would have been nice earlier. There's one more group of monsters somewhere. Probably here in the dead center. Yep. Some zombies. And those sound effects, very nostalgic. No, no wonderful rays of light when you clear it, like you'd have in the base game. Again, some things translate, some things just didn't, or they couldn't.
You
so.
have cleansed the...
Right, I've cleansed the Den of Evil. You can see I got a skill point for that, just like you would in Diablo. Also get a devotion point, which is kind of neat. Some tomes, and a new inventory bag. Right, she wants me to go find Deckard Cain, of course. It's the next major quest.
My rogue scouts have just reported an abomination in the monastery graveyard.
As is this. Go kill Bloodraven. Right, so, garbage. Get rid of that. Get some more money. And let me see. Take a look at what they sell. Buy some shoulders. That's good. So there's our cool looking guy. Look how ratty his armor is. That's okay. We're gonna toss this in here. Use that later. Toss all that stuff in there too. And what else can we do? So there's another kind of neat feature that Diablo didn't have, but Grim Dawn does, which is transmogging your gear. Change what it looks like. So if you think that you don't want the ratty, it's almost a bathrobe. If you don't want that, if you think that looks terrible, because it does, you can equip something else instead, or make it look like something else, rather. It's a cool looking one. I don't have too many unlocked yet, but we'll go with that. So again, it's still the same old armor, just looks a little bit different. You can do that for all of your pieces of gear. Alright, so we get another skill point, which is awesome. We want that. Go ahead and pick that. We also got a devotion point. And this is a holdover from Grim Dawn as well. This is the devotion tree, and it's just passives, and specifically passives that can affect some of your skills. So for example, if you go up here, it gives you plus to your lightning damage, cold damage, blah blah blah, whatever. Once you finish that though, you get this, and this modifies one of your skills to potentially cast this extra ability on top of what it does. It doesn't cost anything extra. Just basically adds damage. So that's something you can do. What do we want to work for, though? That could be nice. Let's see, damage absorption, that would be good. What was some of this? Shields. Shields are boring. And... Alright, so we need one blue point to get to that. So we'll put a point in that, and eventually we can unlock that. So got another new thing. Oak Sage. Let's see. I think that just lasts forever too. Yeah, okay. So I have another pet, another permanent one. So we're in the next zone now. It's the Cold Plains. See, things are much higher level. They don't die instantly anymore. It's where the luck factor really starts to come in. So they did a neat thing with this, and some of these models are custom made for this. So they made these fallen models to match the original Diablo ones. For the corrupted rogues, it's just the standard female human from Grim Dawn, just with a different skin color and different sets of armor depending on which type it is. Let's see, you can see them here. They're still pretty easy. Fallen, still pretty easy. The Gargantuans, the giant Sasquatch things, they have much more health. And I believe these are also from Grim Dawn. So we're going to put a point in intelligence. Because, let me see. Yeah, magic does a lot of damage, at least early game. So we're gonna go for it. We're gonna put all our points in that spell. Because we're gonna need it for Bloodraven. There's the cave. Little side area, we won't go in there because it's too dark to see anything on stream. Alright, does a ton more damage, obviously costs a lot more mana now. Skill Shrine. So it's the equivalent of having, what is it, 2 more levels in all of our skills temporarily, which is kind of cool. So yeah, they brought all of those over. Just one-shotting things. Except our melee attack's pretty weak, so... Again, we're not exploring this whole zone. We probably should get some more levels before we fight Bloodraven. But we're just gonna go for it. Actually, let's clear out some of these. So you can see the scaling here. These things are getting significantly more health as it goes along. Alright. Thankfully, we're still pretty tanky ourselves, so that's good. Oops, not that. It's the filter menu. Alright, so we don't need to see, or don't need to change anything up. A lot of skeletons here, a lot of zombies. We're after her, though. It's Bloodraven, first real kind of boss of the game. This is quite a difficult mission early on. Usually, if I hadn't put all my points in spells, and was just absolutely wrecking her. So, no cool effect when she dies. Again, some limitations here. Blizzard's wonderful method of dealing with the lore of Diablo 1, where you had 3 different characters you could play as, is all 3 of them were in Tristram, all 3 of them took part in it, and all 3 of them turned evil. So Bloodraven was the rogue from Diablo 1, killed her pretty early on. Obviously, Diablo himself in this game is the warrior, canonically killed Diablo, and then absorbed the Soul Stone and turned into him. And then the mage is the guy that we see in Act 2 of this game in the Arcane Sanctum. So they covered all their bases quite well there. Alright, could put more points in this, might as well. It's really strong, let's take advantage of it. Yeah, oh yeah. Alright, so we killed Bloodraven. Normally we want to go and turn that in, but we're gonna rush over here. As best we can, actually. We'll kill a few more things along the way, might as well. Right, because we wanted to do this. That's what I was looking for. So, Fishy Bosch is a rare spawn in the cold plains, that's where we are. And he's in this as well. It's our first enemy that's resistant to fire. Doesn't say it like it would back in Diablo, but you can tell he's not taking damage from this. And he sure is dishing out a ton. But just like in the base game, most of your best loot is going to come from named enemies or glowing treasure chests. So, not this time though. More trash. Yeah, none of that's worth using. Again, our theme is luck, and of course, don't have any. Right, so Stony Field, that's where we want to get to next. So I was running up there. Place a new town portal. And tell Kasha that we did her dirty work.
I believe that you have defeated Bloodraven. Though she was once my closest friend, I pray that her tortured spirit remains banished forever. You have earned my respect, stranger, and the allegiance of the Rose. I have placed several of my best warriors at your disposal.
So this is a major quest in regular Diablo, because this is the first time that you can get hirelings, and you still get them in this. Just works a little bit different. So you still get one for free whenever you complete the quest. The caveat here is that this is an item that improves one of your charms. So we'll just toss that on there. Doesn't matter, we'll just buy another one later. So, now that we've done that,
As you command.
we summon up our rogue ally as a companion. It's a skill, has a cooldown and all that. You can see which one we got. This one has freezing arrow. That's pretty good, actually. But yeah, so she's just always our companion. At least, unless we die or she somehow dies. That'll be pretty hard, given how much health she has. But, some more junk in there. Alright, so I was going to go and save Deckard Cain. I thought that would be swell. It's the part everybody knows when you go and do that. But we'll see how dark the cave is. That might be kind of a deal breaker here. So again, set map, because I played through this in preparation for this, making that Amazon and Sorceress. I know where everything is, which is cool. We can skip some of this, or not grind as much. Also why I went with all my points and spells. In an ideal build, you would want to spread that out. So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, because once I run into something that's immune to fire, I'm screwed. But it hasn't happened yet, so. Alright, just run through, kill all these things. The bird enemies. Looks like the cave didn't spawn there this time. So we have to fight Rakanishu, everybody's other favorite boss. As he spits out lightning. He's probably going to kill me here. Let's see. Maybe? It's gonna be close. Right. It's dealt with. Have fun. Alright, so we need to find the dark passage. That's how we get to the next zone. So we have to go into a cave where it's impossible to see anything, because the game didn't like that I adjusted the gamma. Don't know why. It's like brighter than the sun on my monitor, but not here. Or not on stream, rather. So yeah, even though the maps are set, the cave systems are the only thing that's different each time. I just straight up don't see it in any of the places it could be. Just going full spellcaster build, it's fine. Oh. So that's a minion. I wondered why it had so much health. Alright, there's one other place to go. Is it down here? The Moldy Tome gives us another one of the quests in the game. Everybody's favorite quest early on because you get a ton of gold from it. Okay, there it is down there. We won't get that far, at least in this playthrough, or this stream rather. I probably won't pick this up again. This is just, like I said, this was for a viewer request, and I figured it sort of fit the theme of luck for St. Patrick's Day. So I do love this game, but yeah, it's older. I mean, Diablo's older. Grim Dawn is a little bit older as well, even though this mod is fairly new. I will certainly be streaming the remaster when it comes out, though. That'll be really fun. Several members of the band used to play back in the day. Spent way more time on it than we probably should have. And we'll probably do that again. Alright. So this is a little trickier, again, because the cave entrance and exits are randomized. so I do pretty much have to clear this entire thing. And totally in the dark, too. Keep going. I'm basically just looking on the mini-map to see if it shows up. Because again, we'll get that little icon with the eye, and that'll be the exit to this cave. It will show up on the mini-map when we get close, so... Just shredding things. Not even worried about loot at this point. Not a big deal. Just need to save Deckard Cain. That's our objective. It's the important one. And again, this whole game it's pretty memorable. There's a reason it's getting a remaster. There's a reason the series has persisted. The genre has. Diablo 2 is objectively the most famous game in the genre. Everybody knows it. Every other game that came after it was influenced heavily by it, including this one, so makes sense. So it's kind of fun. It's come full circle. Seeing a game that only existed because of Diablo gets a mod that just turns it into Diablo. And this does do an excellent job with it. Oddities aside, you know, based on the engine and things like that. This is a very good total conversion. Does a very good job of sort of porting the experience and all that of the original game. And of course, Base Grim Dawn is fun too. It's Underground Passage level 2, we don't want that. That's another cave. There's just extra crap in there. So we're just gonna keep on keeping on. I love this, just launch out the little firestorm and things die. This was significantly harder on the other characters, I will say. There we go, it's up here. Okay. So it's still going to be pretty hard to see in the dark wood, unfortunately. We level up again? We did. Oh boy. Might as well. It's the only skill we're using. Right, so here in the dark wood. Aptly named, because it's impossible to see, still. Is this another one we're just going to kind of go through because we have our objective and I know where it is? So, kill some stuff along the way. If we level up, great. If not, eh. We should be strong enough. Well, this might be the first thing that sort of sidelines us. We'll see. Again, the scaling in this is gets a little wonky. Our Vine died at some point. See the little pet icons up in the top left. They're very tiny. There's no real way to resize anything in the UI. So, if you have bad eyes, good luck, I suppose. And where is it? Up here. Yeah. I was gonna say, I know it's the northern part of this map. We have Treehead Woodfist, another early boss. And if you are a weaker character, he's just going to absolutely dumpster you. Thank goodness we're not that. Wow. Yeah. Alright, so we click the tree, get the scroll. That was our main objective here. And we're done with this area. We'll just go back to town. Alright, so we got the scroll. That was our big thing there. It's got another unique, which is nice. Let's see. I will sell the rest of this stuff. That's pretty good, actually. Yeah. And yeah, don't need that. The rest of this we'll keep here. Doesn't matter. Alright, and that we'll toss in the stash, because we'll give that to one of our characters.
Oh, very good.
Alright, so we got the scroll translated, which means that we can use it on the Cairn Stones. That's what we want to do. Just toss that in there. All this other stuff too. So instead of looking at the scroll and having a nice little pop-up, the little pictures, get them here in your inventory, and they're just numbered, which one goes where. So see that in a second. And again, this is one of the parts from the game that people remember, partly because it's so early, so even if you're, terrible at video games, or never finish what you start, you probably at least got this far. Obviously, we did this in just about an hour. That was with having to restart. And my rambling. Just imagine how fast this would be if you weren't doing those things. That's always one of the kind of oddities of streaming, is that it takes a little bit longer. Games you're playing take a little bit longer than they would just kind of on your own. So there's a reason why when the speedrunners do their big tournaments, someone else does commentary for them so they can focus on what they're doing. Alright, so I need that one. To zoom in to kind of see what was going on here. Alright, click them in the right order. No fancy effect, just a portal. Here. Can't click the cow to make it explode. It's... But still full of evil things. So of course there's some things we have to do here. One is rescue Deckard Cain, that's first and foremost. This is of course Tristram, the town from Diablo 1, and then again from Diablo 3, because no one learns any lessons in this series. Just rebuild it, why not? Alright, so we got Cain, he's safe. Obviously the other thing we have to do here, if we can find him, is Griswold. Wonderful blacksmith from Diablo 1, turned into a very strong zombie. Well, normally very strong. Not so much now. Very slow. Just whip fire at him until he dies. Drops some really good items for us. Boy, that is a wonderful sound, though. So you know you got good stuff. Not for me, though. I need the mana regen from the chest piece that I have. So one of the things, as far as this being more difficult, is that you have to start planning your build from early on in Diablo, but potentially even more so here. At least in terms of your itemization, it matters a lot more early on. Alright, I was looking to see if Wart was here. He's a kid in Diablo 1. He can show up as a vendor here in this mod. But he didn't, so. Of course, Tristram plays the iconic music from Diablo 1 as well. Always nice to hear. They bring it back lots of times for good reason. Got a lot of good stuff here. So let's, now I need the mana leech. Okay. Wait. Yeah, we'll just sell that. Okay, so now Cain is back here in camp.
Regrettably, I could do nothing to prevent
So a custom model for him. Looks pretty good too. I'm impressed with it.
that our greatest fears have come. It is certain that
I have to wonder about this mod, sort of the legality of all of it.
You have risked your life.
If Blizzard's going to maybe send them a cease and desist now that they're remaking this game themselves. I hope they don't, but they're well within their right to, that's for sure. So again, we'll have to see what happens with that. Other stuff for once. Not that it matters. Alright, so we saved Cain. Got some cool new items, which we'll toss in our stash. We already had that, didn't we? Of course. Wonderful luck. Okay. Toss that junk in here. That's better than what we have somehow. And alright. So, we rescued Deckard Cain, which is cool. Could keep going. Or we can check out another character. It's like I said, I prepared for this. I actually made some other characters, had them ready to go, so we could test out some other stuff. So here we have an Amazon, and I also spec'd into Inquisitor. This is one of the base classes for Grim Dawn, specifically because it boosts your ranged attack with some passive things, and that's basically all I wanted out of it. You can see most of my points are still in Amazon here, focused mostly in Fire Arrow. And it does kind of a neat thing. So Fire Arrow is a basic thing, and then Exploding Arrow and even Immolation Arrow just buff it instead of being their own skills. And there's a couple other skills that do that too. It makes it a little bit easier for builds, kind of mimics something that Diablo did years after the fact. They called it, what was it? I can't even think now. Synergy points, I want to say, where like if you put points in different things, it would buff other things. That came years and years when after the game was no longer relevant. But let's see, we have some points. No, we haven't even put any points in anything, have we? Or no, we did. Okay, read that wrong. You can see I have some extra gear and stuff here. Some other set items. Got some set piece bonuses going on. We're much further along too. So we are on the Outer Cloister. It's where the game kind of really picks up. You're getting close to the end of Act 1. So you can see scaling starts to be an issue here. I'm doing several hundred damage a hit. AoE damage at that. And things are not dying instantly like they were before, like they are for the Druid. Summons up guys, always good. So again, it's much slower paced. I actually have to kind of think about things, kind of kite some enemies around sometimes. Again, you can see my health is dropping very quickly. I can't just stand there and face tank like the Druid can. Even though I'm not that much difference in level 13 as opposed to, what was it, 8 or 9? Actually have to use potions. So the game does ramp up in difficulty significantly. Stuff does have a leash on it. It'll go back to its starting point after a while, which is annoying. But again, Amazon, it's kind of slow-paced. It has sort of the problem that Barbarian does, whereas you're basically just waiting for more exciting skills at the end. It's lots of either you just shooting things if you went the bow route, stabbing or throwing things if you went the spear and javelin route. Which in this, interestingly enough, is just one and the same. The javelin weapon type that's a spear. The game counts it as a spear, so all of those moves count for that. And you can still throw it, so it's still pretty broken. Let's see here. So you can see your damage per hit for things. I'm doing quite a lot, still not enough. This gets to be a bit of a slog. So again, the problem here with this mod, and Diablo doesn't have this problem, at least until later difficulties. Once you get into late Nightmare in Hell, that's when it starts to kind of slow down. You have to really think about your build. It happens a lot sooner in this. Again, kind of have to run away, kind of have to kite things. And even with this character, I put all my points into dexterity, or for the most part. There's a couple in strength. Makes sense for the Amazon. So I'm not even missing my attacks. I'm just not doing enough damage to kill things. So, thrilling, engaging gameplay here. Sort of running away. We'll kill these, and then we'll check out the Sorceress. because that has its own sort of unique set of problems. Oh, am I dying? Okay. Alright, but yeah, you can see the scaling, even here, even this early in Act 1 of just normal difficulty. Things are becoming a problem. We have plenty of stats, plenty of skills. This would be a pretty decent build, but stuff just scales that much. It's really crazy to think about. So, we'll go one higher. Sometimes your armor just doesn't spawn in there, so. But it does in-game. Yeah, totally normal. Got much better gear. I've got some set items going on here, some uniques even. We can even up the ante with, let's see. Yeah, wow. Significantly better than what I had. Okay. So we go with that. What else do we want to do here? Toss these in here just in case this doesn't work out.
As you command.
Alright, so we'll summon some things up, including some skeletons. Which, if you know Diablo, you're thinking that's kind of odd. Sorceress doesn't do that. How many can I have? 2. Okay. Because I spec'd into Sorceress and Necromancer, I wanted to kind of deal with one of the problems that Sorceress has, in that she's a complete glass cannon, and if things touch her, she dies, but she does a boatload of damage. So I put some points into some of my basic skills. They've started to fall off pretty hard. Similar to the Amazon, you can see Ice Blast, instead of being its own thing, just buffs Ice Bolt. Same thing down here with Fireball. And the Necromancer, all I have is some very basic points just to get a couple skeletons, just so they can tank some stuff for me. But even have some Devotion points, so you can see I have that Tsunami skill that I talked about earlier, and it buffs my Fireball. And we're here in Act 2, in the desert. It's a little bit different. Very bright. The first quest in Act 2 that we have to do is go into the sewers, which will be really dark. So we'll save that for later. Instead, we'll just kind of explore out and just see how bad the scaling has gotten. See, I'm attacking very fast. I'm doing damage in the thousands. The issue here, and you might see it sometimes, is my spells are missing. Because spells are counted as attacks, and I don't have any hit rating. So it doesn't matter how much damage I do, if my chance to hit is less than 80%. Which of course by video game logic means it's 0. If you ever played XCOM, you know anything less than 100% is a guaranteed miss. It's the bane of many a run of that game. So you can see my skeletons, they don't do much damage. They just prevent the occasional thing from getting to me. So don't have to worry about things not landing, doesn't matter. Always hated these enemies at Diablo 2, because sometimes they fly up, and then you just have to wait for them. Boring. So here we have some more enemies. Some of these are custom models. Some of these are imported from Grim Dawn. Some of these are imported from Titan Quest, actually. Again, same devs for the base game. Same engine and everything, too. So, again, shocked they didn't get a cease and desist for this. For multiple reasons. Not that they made money off it, but a lot of asset theft in it, for sure. See what the future holds for them. So these are the cat women, slingers of Act 2. And they're just using the cat girl models from Titan Quest. You'd never know it. Fits perfectly within the engine, and of course perfectly within the mod. So, clever idea, that. Titan Quest is also wonderful, by the way. It is set in ancient myth. What is it? Greece, Egypt, the Far East, and what is it? Then it got DLC recently, oddly enough, for sort of Viking. And here we have a boss enemy, so this could be a little taxing. We'll see how this goes. Again, I'm doing a lot of damage when things hit, which is not as often as I would like. So my mercenary right now has 5.5 thousand health. I have 1.4, so something went wrong there. She's scaling more along the lines of what we probably should be at this point. But I put all my points into intelligence, so you can see I'm spamming this fireball spell and my mana's not dropping at all, which is nice. But it means that if I get hit, I'm dead, so thankfully she's face tanking everything, as are the skeletons. Sometimes enemy AI is a little wonky. Run at you randomly. Just gonna drop a portal just in case. Because if we die, we don't have to run back here. Again, thrilling gameplay. Stuff just has way more health than it should. So this game is kind of a balancing act in with the skill tree. Obviously, you need to put points in skills to do damage, but you also need to put points in the passives to, for one, get stats, and two, unlock more skills to do more damage. So it's a constant balancing act of, well, which one do you want to do? And I think I might have not put enough points in damaging skills. Yeah. This is taking forever. Of course, these things very helpfully also regenerate their health. So all the times when I'm missing with all these fireballs, somehow, they're just getting back the health from the ones that did hit. She also appears to be resistant to fire, so... Again, game doesn't tell you that, but based on how little damage it's doing, probably a safe bet. Running away from me too. Makes it all the more fun. So oftentimes in Diablo, people will get what they call runs. It's basically where you skip most of an act. So someone will just teleport you to the last boss, and then you'll wreck it, and then you'll get on to the next one and do it again until you get to usually act 4 or 5. Have much better monster density, much better gear can drop, things like that. They're much more fun. Act 3 especially. Most people just skip in its entirety because it's terrible. I am really curious to see what exactly Blizzard is going to change with the remaster. What sort of quality of life things they're going to add, if any. Things like auto-looting gold. They said they're going to do that. Higher resolutions, things like that, they'll for sure do. But I'm curious what else they might potentially add. Again, because it's been 20 years, and plenty of other games have done it better since then, if I'm honest. Wow, all that is trash. Okay, so yeah, Act 1 is a little tricky. Or Act 2 is a little tricky, so we're going to go back to Act 1. In the Catacombs, we can't see anything, because it's so dark. Again, I have no idea why OBS just decided that it doesn't care what I do about the the gamma for this game. OBS also doesn't care about my grammar, but I try my best. So here's some Afflicted. So we're in the Catacombs, level 2. This is the ending of Act 1. It's where you would go to fight Endariel. And she absolutely wrecked me the first time. It took me quite a few attempts. Ended up having to just kind of cheese the fight in the end. You can see just how much damage I'm taking here. Alright, so there's a couple different places that the stairs down can spawn. You can see them on the map. This one there. So we're just going to head towards those. It'd be nice to get a level first. These things are significantly easier than Act 2 was then, so I picked this. Obviously, Andariel is another one of the big famous boss fights. Everybody remembers it. Not at all because she's buck naked, but the model they chose for her in the mod is an interesting choice. We'll see when we get to it. Come on, where are you at, stairs? There we go. Okay. Alright, it's Catacombs level 3. That's all there is. Put a portal. And this is one of the levels that even back in Diablo 2 was always static. It always looked like this. So, recreated perfectly here. All this loot. So we need some dexterity. And we definitely want to do more damage. Not doing enough. Trying to think what's the best way to do this. Alright, yeah, go with that. Summon up our skeletons again. Fight these guys. Clear this all out, just because we're going to be using a lot of space to fight Andariel. Drop another portal. Again, no scrolls, so I can just do that as many times as I want, doesn't matter. And they also don't disappear when you use them, which is another way that we'll probably end up having to cheese this. She's going to kill us a lot. Ooh, a relic. Okay. So like I said, there's crafting in this game, holdover from Grim Dawn itself, which is kind of cool. Another way to kind of fill some gaps in your gear if you have bad luck, as we have. And we want to clear this whole space out. Couple more guys. Not that these things are difficult, but I don't want them showing up mid-fight. It'd be less than ideal. Just more things we have to worry about. See a little skull on the map? She's up there. There she is. Still naked. Her model, though, it's just Kerrigan from StarCraft. They didn't even try to hide it. I have no idea where they got it from or why. But yeah, it's just Kerrigan from StarCraft. She's especially difficult because her poison attacks that she spams relentlessly, if they hit you, also drain all of your mana. Given that I'm a caster, it means I'm worthless. She one-shots these skeletons. Thankfully, she just kind of ignores the rogue. So you can see she has... how much health is that? 257,000. I think, yeah. In the off chance she cares about the skeletons, again, she one-shots them. But they're useless here. I'm useless here. So I don't have any mana. And all her spells pretty much instantly kill me. Not the best introduction here. I can't get over the fact that it's just Kerrigan. Come on. Why would you do that? It's, like, blatantly obvious, too. I mean, I guess they do have kind of a similar look, but, of course, StarCraft being another game that Blizzard remade. Did a pretty good job with it. Did a pretty terrible job with Warcraft 3, unfortunately. Alright, so we died. It's no biggie, though. Because, like I said, durability's not a thing. It's just a minor inconvenience. Slightly more of an inconvenience because we spawned in Act 2 for some reason. So. Okay, got our new blueprint, which is kind of cool. Actually, let's see if we can make one of those. That might make this a little easier.
As you command.
Resummon everything. And let's see. Yeah, we can. Okay. I feel like I might have one of these in the stash. I don't. Okay. What's that? Never. Oh no, I did that. Okay, so we want to equip all of our best gear before we go in there. I think we have that though, so that's more problematic. There's dexterity. Don't need that. Elemental damage, that could be nice. Calamity is other stuff. Alright, so we'll do... I'm gonna make one of these things, and a relic is just another item that you equip, and it automatically does things when you get hit, in addition to offering those passives. So this is the caster one. Increases our damage, our movement speed, and our resists, which we definitely need. Having more poison resist would be even better, but no such luck on that. Let's see, we can make some of the set items here, and these are set items from Grim Dawn. So obviously, +1 skills to Arcanist. That's not a Diablo class. But, let's see if there's anything else cool that we can make in here. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, again, just the Grim Dawn gear. So, the Diablo items in general are a bit stronger than the Grim Dawn ones, which is another kind of complaint for this. I wish that the loot lists had been adjusted so it's just the Diablo items. But again, Town Portal stays there, which is cool. So we can just come back and keep trying. Our body, we get our XP back, not that it matters. She's also back. Still killing us, still embarrassing us. So one of the old winning strategies for this fight was to fight her in here. Just go around this, because your attacks can go over it. Hers usually can't, that one can. But like the little poison wave thing she does, you can just effectively ignore it. Because yeah, it just stops dead. Just ring around the Rosie, because she is too strong and will kill me if she hits me. Get them skeletons. They're useless. Ooh. Thought I was outside of that, but I guess not. Okay. See, again, the minor annoyance of we spawn in Act 2, because this is where the game thinks we are. Grim Dawn doesn't have axe, it's just a giant map. So I don't know... I'm not entirely sure how they manage that in this. Because again, you can move between them just flawlessly. See, I don't know what the secret was to make that work. That's okay, though. Go right back in. Oh, hey! She didn't reset that time. And she's supposed to walk back up to where she spawns. Then I have to go and gather her again to do this. This works too. Well, sort of. Go, skeletons! Oh my goodness. It's funny, in Diablo 2, this wouldn't be an issue at all. Probably would have killed her before she even showed up on screen. I assume there's legions of people online that are have their angry tweets prepared for when Blizzard censors her model in the remaster. I don't particularly care, but that's something that internet warriors are probably mad about already. Who knows, they might not, but I can 100% see them doing it, and 100% see people being mad about it. I am really curious to see what, if anything, Blizzard will censor from the original. So obviously it's a pretty dark and grisly game. There is lots of gore and nudity and things like that in it. It was just very hard to tell back in the day. Again, 800 by 600, very pixelated, very stylistic. But nope,
As you command.
forgot about our rogue. I was gonna say there's no arrows. Ooh. Halfway. Give or take. Again, I beat her once before, and it took an embarrassingly long time, obviously, to get to Act 2 that first time. Kind of a balancing act here as far as fighting her. If you get too far away, she's going to spam that attack, the circle one, and that's probably her most dangerous move. But if I get too close, she does the poison wave, and that does a comparable amount of damage and is much harder to dodge. So basically, which poison attack do I want to have kill me? Ideally none, but I don't have any poison resist. Or max HP. Might be dead here anyways. No. Okay. She's immune to being slowed, which is less than ideal. Sort of the sorceress's whole bread and butter. She's very weak physically, but has most people go the cold sorceress build, which lets you slow things or freeze them outright before they get close to you, and then you just do a ton of damage, and then teleport away. Something else which I have not unlocked yet. Getting there. In an ideal world, what I wanted to do, like I said, was show base Diablo 2, and I was going to have one character start at the beginning and go up to probably killing Bloodraven, and then have another one either that same one or another one save Cain, and then possibly do this as well, and then do those exact same things in Grim Dawn. But didn't work out, like I said. Diablo 2 installs just fine. It got a patch just a couple years ago where it's supposed to work on modern systems, and it just doesn't. When you boot it up, even with all the different fixes I tried, all the different patches and things like that, the screen just flickers, can't get into anything, and then it just crashes no matter what. Tried all the different compatibility mode settings, different video encoders, things like that. No such luck. Again, a 20-year-old game at this point. It's kind of to be expected. but still disappointing. Would have been kind of nice to go back and play it one more time before the remaster is out. But this is a very good substitute, like I said. Issues with it aside, it's something I could probably look up, you know, builds and guides for, and be better about it. But if you're playing Diablo 2 at this point, it's for the aesthetic, which this has in spades. Mostly because you can't see what the hell's going on. It's so dark. But go up here, you can see the little skull throne. Again, this is one of the things that I wouldn't be shocked if they censored. In the base game, you know, there's just tons of gross dead bodies and stuff here. Obviously, Andariel herself is quite naked. The skull throne is very morbid. There's bodies on fire and things like that. So, not that you could tell with the original graphics, but they're there. Alright, so what did we get? A ring. It's not very good. And some other stuff. Cool. All that for nothing. As is tradition. It's the end game in Diablo 2 back in the day was to basically just teleport around killing specific bosses, getting different pieces of loot from them, or hoping for different pieces of loot from them because they had higher chance to drop things. So you would go and you would teleport, you know, straight to the end, you know, kill Diablo, we kill Mephisto, do Baal, things like that, just real quick, and then leave the game and start over and keep doing that. I assume that's the end game here. Haven't gotten that far yet, obviously. It's still in just Act 2. This is as far as I've gotten with this mod. Probably as far as I will get with this mod. Just, again, it's not bad. I think this is great. But as someone who played Diablo 2 a ton, and knowing that the remaster is on the horizon, I'd almost rather just wait for that and instead play other things in my backlog in the meantime. But again, no, they did a great job with this. It's definitely cool, definitely worth checking out. There's not really much else to say. You know, I talked a lot during this very rapid fire, just kind of going through. Planned on this being a shorter stream in general. It's going to be even shorter than that, just because it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Again, because I couldn't get Diablo 2 to work. That's okay, like I said. Just bask in that glorious music. Act 1 rogue encampment sound. They even use the same text. I mean, come on. It's perfect. You can see it up there. I'm sure it has its own fancy name. It's probably just the Diablo text. You could probably find it online. Put it in your Word documents. Turn in a paper with it. If your professor's cool, they'll give you an automatic A. But, yeah, this is Reign of Terror and Grim Dawn. If you really want to scratch that Diablo itch, and like I said, you either can't stomach the 800 by 600 in Diablo 2, or just straight up doesn't run, this is a great alternative. Grim Dawn itself is just fantastic. Very good game. I think it's probably the best ARPG since Diablo 2, so worth it. Doesn't go on sale very often though, so worth keeping in mind. But yeah, speaking of action RPGs, I totally have a video coming out tomorrow on another one. Re-recorded that earlier today because Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr, there's a title for you, got a big update and is currently on sale. It's an action RPG set in the 40k universe, so I did a quick little video on that because another fan requested that, and Malignant Bear aims to please. So look forward to that tomorrow morning. So it's already uploaded and done. It'll just go live at, was it 9 a.m. I think I said it. So if you're curious about that, you want to see another action RPG with similar grisly aesthetic, but maybe slightly better lighting, check that out. But yeah, this was Grim Dawn and Reign of Terror. So, and of course for St. Patrick's Day, our Celebeartion. I do never get tired of that pun. So we hope you enjoyed this. Again, sort of the very tenuous link to St. Patrick's Day, but still need an excuse to do this. Figured why not. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this. Whether you were on, have fun with it. Bad lighting aside, again, I don't know. OBS just dropped the ball on this one for sure. But keep watching. We do appreciate it. And have a good one.